Steven, did the big old Twitter fiasco affect you today at all?
Not really, but um, it sounds like my buddy is the one who saved Ian Rappaport during this whole thing. He gave him a shout out on Pat McAfee show today. I just saw it on Instagram. I responded to him, and
Your buddy, huh?
Yeah, my friend named Shahab. He works for this sports PR firm, and Rappaport shouted him out because X was down. So Rappaport was sending my guy Shahab tweets so that they could get posted because X was down for him or something.
How that? Well, so I'm not a big social media guy, but I guess one of the few social medias I use what's up? Social medias, yeah.
Social medias, yeah. Okay.
Is Twitter for news, and that's how most of the NFL news is broken. And I didn't notice anything today. I got all my alerts, but I did notice that Rappaport had his shit go out way quicker than everybody else's. Like, it was a little delayed. Like, once 9 o'clock hit, he was the first one to have Hassan Reddick go to the Bucks, and then everybody else was kind of catching up a little bit after that. So I don't know what the whole deal was. I went to the studio today, and John Curley wasn't getting his alerts. Like, for the people that don't care so much about social media, I will say today of all days, this is a bad time for Twitter to go down because, you know me, I live for the fuckery.
Right.
So it didn't affect me, but for some people, if I couldn't get my alerts, I was going to throw a tizzy.
Yeah, but I was watching on TV. Like, I had it on.
I didn't have the luxury, damn it.
It was very entertaining, actually. Tom Pelissero was getting really pissed off in the beginning, like at the start.
Well, this is like their Super Bowl.
Right. And he was getting really angry, like live on air. Not really angry. The way I'd put it is he was seething because he wasn't outwardly pissed. He wasn't visibly like upset, but he's saying things with a smile, knowing that that's kind of a mask for the anger that he was feeling inside. Because he's like, okay, Ian, get us back on the rails here. Okay, Ian? Come on, Ian.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest because Tom Pelissero is very smiley in interviews and charismatic and has good hair. But you best believe he's going to throw a fit when things don't go his way.
Yeah, or throw just a little bit of shade subliminally, or it's very obvious. But like, I just tuned in, and all I get is, okay, Ian, get us back on track here. Let's just see if we can actually wrangle this thing up because we are not organized at all. Here, Ian, what do you got?
Yeah.
Go to the other studio.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell a year ago when he was calling out the like Slick Rick and all of the Niner Twitter guys.
Oh, yeah.
For the Brandon Ayuk stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We are back-to-back days, because the fuckery is going on. And, you know me. I love a good free agency frenzy. But as I said a couple weeks ago, this class is not that good as in years past. We've had a lot of big names get cut and sign with new teams. And a lot of stuff has happened in the last couple of days here. Like, when we signed off yesterday, a lot more news happened, and we'll get to that. But I will say, the big takeaway from today is a lot of good players, not great players, good players got overpaid.
Look, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought this was way more exciting than what happened last year.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because you actually had players on the move. Last year, it felt like there was nothing that happened, and we came on here talking about day one of free agency, and we're just like, well, maybe more will happen day two. Felt like a lot got done today.
I don't know, dude. I thought last year was Kirk Cousins going to the Falcons, Saquon going to the Eagles. A lot of guys, I mean, you brought it up last year, a lot of, dudes signing with rivals like Patrick Queen going from the Ravens to the Steelers. Just thinking of things at the top of my head. No, I thought last year was a little more, I don't know, it was bigger names. Like you had the big one to me.
I'm looking at it right now. It's not that big of names.
Yeah. Well, to me, like the one that I'm like, are you kidding me? Javon Kinlaw signing What was the contract he got today? Good Lord.
It was 3 years, 45 mil.
With 30 guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this guy keeps finding old friends. Like, he did not play well with the 49ers. Robert Saleh, his old defensive coordinator, picks him up in New York, doesn't play well. Adam Peters drafted him with the Niners. It's like, you know what? Come to Washington. I'll overpay for you. I didn't get.
And I do agree that is an overpay. Like, I don't think there's anyone you can argue against it being an overpay. Obviously Adam Peters is trying to prove something, because I think if that gave us any indication, Javon Kinlaw was his pick in the first round that year. Like, that's what I'm reading about this. And I don't know, I'm gonna drop a little bit, but when you see that guy up close in training camp, and he was on the 49ers when, they were a Super Bowl bound team, he was bigger than everyone out there. Like, when everyone is walking around doing drills, obviously Nick Bosa's there, chiseled as all hell. George Kittle is just talking shop with the fans and holding court for Niner Nation. But then you look over and you're just like, who is this big ass number 99 guy? Who the hell is that? And that's Javon Kinlaw. So the size is there, and he has all the makings of like an NFL star. But I don't know, how much are you really going to get going into year 5 or am I wrong on that? Year 6?
No, I think it's year when he get drafted, 2020.
2020, yeah. Him and Ayuk were
taking. It's year 6 now. Going
into year 6, how much of that potential hasn't already been reached? How much more of a ceiling is there? Adam Peters clearly thinks there's a much higher ceiling than we all think. So I'm yes, absolutely an overpay. But God, when you see that guy, you just think, how is he not just dominating everyone in the league right now?
Yeah. I mean, he's a physical.
It's just from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
I know the production hasn't been there. His PFF grade sucks. The Commanders need help up the middle, stopping the run. I know Jonathan Allen, missing him is not going to do much. But as far as the lack of run stoppage, because he wasn't that great of a run stopper in the first place. But if that's what they were looking for, and they signed Javon Kinlaw to get that, they're probably not going to. I'm just saying, when I see him up close, I'm like, holy shit, this guy should be like a star. I get why they drafted him in the first round. Just hasn't paid off so far. And the injuries are a big thing. Injuries are such a I mean, it's with every player, but obviously he has the history.
All right, enough about Javon Kinlaw. Just one example of a bad contract, because I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be in Washington. We'll see about that one. But that was the theme today. It was just, I thought a lot of good players got big old contracts. And the other theme of the two teams that we talk about on this podcast, the 49ers and Raiders, lost many free agents. And I think this was nothing surprising with the 49ers, but it still makes you feel a certain way when you're a fan. So to go through it all today, it started off early as I pull up my rundown for our show today on Dirty Work, as I get all of the names that left today. Jalen Moore.
That was a good filibuster.
Thank you. Jalen Moore. I haven't had time to properly write anything down, so I'm just using off of shit that I was doing on the show today.
Okay.
Jalen Moore, how many games did he play this season? 5? Filling in for Trent Williams?
5. Yes, 5.
He was a solid player. You're going from Trent Williams to Jalen Moore. Like, obviously you want Trent Williams, but in the time that he did play this season, I didn't think it was a gigantic drop-off. Nevertheless, I did not expect him to become the new blind sign protector of Patrick Mahomes. I think that's a big decision by Andy Reid and Brett Veach and everybody involved with the Kansas City Chiefs to go with that guy going forward, a guy that has not played a lot of snaps in the NFL. So that was the first one. I was like, interesting. Elijah Moore, I don't know if he'll make the 53-man roster with the Chiefs. Yeah. That just seems like we're just going to sign a running back. I don't know why they did it this early. Talanoa Hufanga going to the Broncos. We knew that was coming. Not going to the Broncos per se. He gets 3 years, $45 million, 20 guaranteed. And then Aaron Banks. I think a lot of Niner fans, if you feel bad about Aaron Banks leaving, then I don't know. I don't think he played that well, and the money he got with the Green Bay Packers. They see something there. I don't think he's that great of a player, but yeah, I mean, that's a guy that you can let walk in free agency, and they just need to find guys to fill those holes.
Well,
Yes.
I do think though, if you're a 49er fan, you thought that you found the long-term solution in his second year. Aaron Banks was awesome in the second year of his in the second year since he was a rookie, and you feel bad because of the local angle. Like he's a Bay Area guy through and through. Like I'm sure his family still lives in El Cerrito. I think that's where he's from. So I feel bad for him in that aspect. And I think a lot of 49er fans were disappointed realizing that he might not be the long-term solution. Should they have paid him? No, it probably would have been an overpay just for the way that he performed last year. But I think there was a lot left to be desired, especially after that second season when it looks like, oh my God, they might have a Pro Bowl here, a Pro Bowler who could be here for a decade if they want. Like I think that's the only disappointment. It comes from what he did earlier in his career and just how it panned out at the end.
Well, the big disappointment came today with Dre Greenlaw leaving, and he goes to the Denver Broncos on a 3-year, $35 million deal. I don't know what he got guaranteed-wise. I don't think that information has come to light yet. But, I mean, we were kind of bracing for that. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Matt Barrows was on this months ago where he said, I think he's going to want to leave and do his own thing. And I would say everything that we've read or heard in the last week from Adam Schefter, Diana Rossini, Albert Breer, to Mike Silver on Friday with his article, they weren't going to just sign everybody back. They're going in a different direction right now. It is a reset. It's not a rebuild. It's a reset where we're not going to tear everything down. We're just going to be smarter with our contracts. As we said yesterday, we're going to be cold, calculated, analytical, and ruthless when it's deemed appropriate. So we'll see what that means for Brock Purdy.
Right.
But as far as the Niners today, they're willing to say goodbye to a lot of people.
Exactly. But I do think there was going to be, I mean, I think the Talanoa Hufanga thing obviously was done. Charvarius Ward to the Colts.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I think the Colts had themselves a nice little day today, signing Cam Bynum and Charvarius Ward to bolster that secondary. Like that defense, I think Zaire Williams said they're like a step away from being top 5. So I think they really,
Is it Zaire Williams or Franklin?
Franklin, excuse me. Zaire Williams is a basketball player. Zaire Franklin thinks they're
Zion Williams
really close to Grizzlies younger player.
Yeah, I got you.
He thinks they're really close to being a top 5 defense. And Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum, I don't know if that puts them over the top, but it looks like the Colts are getting a very motivated Charvarius Ward after everything that transpired last season. And transpired feels like, just the tragedy that struck with the Ward family there. So I think they're going to be really well off. But I do think the Dre Greenlaw one hurts the most because that's a guy where it's like, okay, the 49ers have clear interest in him. Michael Silver is out there reporting that, look, the 49ers want him, but you got the Broncos, the Texans, and the Falcons all in the sweepstakes. So I think, and here, listen, skills report, man, I love you guys, but the Warriors are on. I tried to do both, but it wasn't working. We'll listen later tomorrow on the replay.
We're doing the same thing, man. We got it on.
You don't have to watch us. You don't have to watch us at all. Just put us on in the background. I'm sorry. Sorry, Fitz and Buki. But, you know,
how about sir. Put on just your opinion, man.
Oh, man, they're giving them the best shot. God, what was I saying? Dre Greenlaw. Yeah, I think that one was stung. And I think one that's low key, like this one to me, I know, I mean, I'll let you share the thoughts on Dre Greenlaw for a second, but the one to me that was kind of an indication like, oh yeah, these salary cap issues are hurting them is when Drew Dahlman ended up getting that deal with the Bears, because centers are not that, don't have that high of a price tag. You can invest highly in one and still not have that much counting towards your salary cap. Like they're only paying him $14 million a year. And with all the connections that he's had to the 49ers, with his dad playing with John Lynch for Stanford, they were both part of the same draft class for the NFL, with his dad going to the 49ers and playing there for 7 years. His dad is like the president of Palma High School in Salinas, which is in Monterey. Like all actions there, you're like, okay, this is lining up for Drew Dahlman to be the center, kind of like Alex Mack, but it just it didn't work out that way. And I think that one was it wasn't oh, it's doing a little this free agency is a loss. Like the 49ers are going to suck next year. But I do think that was kind of an under the radar move that slipped through the 49ers fingers.
No, I mean, there's a lot of guys that they had their. I mean, I don't know if we just as the media had our hearts set on like guys that the Niners could pick up, but yeah, there was a lot of guys that were picked up this today that you weren't thinking were going to get a ton of money. In the end, they did. But just to finish up on Dre Greenlaw, I mean, he was vital to that defense for a long time.
Right.
And I mean, just a year ago or 2 years ago, if we want to talk about NFL seasons, 2 seasons ago, where he picked off Jordan Love twice in the NFC divisional playoff game that got to the Niners to the NFC Championship game. I mean, I remember him picking off Tom Brady in games. He was
going to get it signed.
Yeah, going to get it signed. Like him and Fred Warner were a great duo together. And obviously what did him in was the Achilles in the Super Bowl. And that's really unfortunate when you think about everything. Like that defense was not nothing without him, but it definitely was not as good. Fred Warner can't do it all by himself. So when Dre Greenlaw, not even on a tackle, just jumping in the air to go back on the field during the Super Bowl, tears his Achilles, it's heartbreaking because that impacted that game, that impacted all of last season. He doesn't come back until late November, early December to play against the Rams, has a great performance, hurts himself in that game, comes back in the next week against Miami, plays maybe a snap or two, and then he's done. What are you laughing about?
They just showed a slow-mo replay of Steve Kerr looking at a foul call, and he was up there smiling as he's looking at the board, and I don't know, just the angle of it. Yeah, it's slow-mo, right? It's funny. Anyway.
I see it right now. His face just,
keep going. Yeah, keep going.
That reaction is kind of reminiscent of 10 years ago, I think yesterday, where Steph did his thing against the Clippers, and Steve Kerr did the, what are you doing? And oh, man, he's incredible.
Yeah. Was that the same game where he shook Chris Paul out of the building?
Yes.
God. Yeah.
I was watching times, man.
Funny enough, I was watching Curry highlights all day today for whatever reason, because someone posted like a montage from that 2014, 2015.
You mean the new assistant general manager of Davidson?
Yes, excuse me. Yeah. And I was also watching Davidson highlights. That was great. All right, 17 years ago, Kevin Harlan, Gus Johnson still sound the exact same. Anyway, continue. Dre Greenlaw.
Just in a quick update, Warriors right now up on the Portland Trailblazers 41-34. So hopefully they come away with this one, which I think they will. Just Dre Greenlaw. I mean, I get why fans are upset because he was a fan favorite and he was very important to that defense, obviously. That's an understatement. But I understand it. I think that had he been okay coming back to the Niners on a 1-year deal, he would have signed back. But when you have a market like he did, you go out and test it, and you have the ability to run your own defense. He will be the man in the middle in Denver. It's honestly like big swings here the Denver Broncos are taking with Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. So they're teaming up together in Denver. We'll see how that goes. I get it, though. It's just a risk that the Niners couldn't take. I think that they have to be very cautious with where they put their money towards for the future. I will say also, they can't just expect rookies to fill the holes of everything they lost today.
Right.
They do have to spend some money. Linebacker-wise, we've been over it. There's not a lot there right now. The only names we really know are Fred Warner and D. Winters. They need to get another linebacker. As far as like the defensive line, it's just Bosa and Leonard Floyd. Jordan Elliott's still a defensive tackle for them, but that's not a starter. I mean, they can go the veteran route and go with Jonathan Allen if they want to, or Joey Bosa, but I still think they need to get younger there. It's got to be a mix of getting younger with rookies, but not relying on the rookies when you have this championship window as you still see it.
Right.
And then you're relying on guys to, rookies and experienced pros to play in a Robert Saleh defense. And I think, today was also like for Robert Saleh being like, shit, okay, I'm really going to have to work this season. Like, I'm not going to have the same talent I've had in years past. So, not anything crazy today. And Kyle Juszczyk was released. We kind of expected that too. So, I know we've been talking about like a whole reset and everything. It's not like George Kittle was traded today. I think that these are all things you can live without. And unfortunately, Dre Greenlaw is one of them. It's just like they got to do something the next couple of days here. They can't just rely on a whole draft class to help them for the upcoming season.
Well, I think these two, though, Derek, it's not just that you're missing out really great players with both Juszczyk and Greenlaw. I think it's to be determined because we haven't seen it really. I mean, Juszczyk's been there since the beginning, but we'll just take from 2019 on when Greenlaw was drafted the year after Warner. We haven't really seen Fred Warner without number 57 lining up alongside him, except for last year. And look what happened. He was having to play on a broken foot, and the Niners defense couldn't stop the run. Then look at Kyle Juszczyk. I don't think we know what to expect with the run game next year. I think like the Kyle Juszczyk one's a bigger one for me because God, he was such a, like, I know George Kittle's a huge part of the run blocking too, and that scheme and all that. But with Juszczyk, we don't know what it looks like without him. We don't know what Shanahan's offense looks like without a lead fullback. It's kind of an underrated thing. And I really think that Juszczyk, he got paid, right? Financials is really what they care about at the end of the day. But I do think he kind of got screwed, not by the Niners, but just in the fact that it felt like he was always open on that wheel route and they never used him as a patch catcher as much as they probably should have.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have that extra safety net, which he's provided. He's played such a big role in that offense. So if I'm going into next season, I am a little more skeptical about all those guys and how those guys are impacted because look, Fred Warner can do everything on the football field. There's no doubt. Like he's obviously one of the best tacklers in the game. The angles he takes to get to the running back, just getting through the line and finding the holes and knowing where the play is going to come from. But when he's in pass coverage, it's kind of easy for him to cover a tight end who's running down the seam because you got 57 running crazy all over the field, tackling everybody, and I think we saw it last year with Devondre Campbell, even Demetrius Flanagan fouls when he's been in just for Greenlaw. Like it doesn't always work alongside Warner. Like you got to have two really, really, really outstanding players. And I love the comparison that Otis made earlier where he said Greenlaw was supposed to be the next Navarro Bowman. Sad that he won't be back alongside Warner. Yeah, that's the other part of this is just the nostalgia of Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman having their version of Patrick Willis now, this generation's Patrick Willis, and not finding a Navarro Bowman. I can understand why there's an added level to that disappointment.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like Will Ferrell without John C. Reilly. You know what I mean?
Oh, and their relationship is taking a turn too,
right? Like after the John C. Reilly stuff, kind of petered out. So did Will Ferrell.
Well, let's be honest. Sure, Holmes and Watson petered their relationship out.
Holmes and Watson.
Remember that movie they made together?
Oh, God, yeah. Everyone left the theater. We went to go see that.
It was bad. I didn't see it. I did the normal thing of everybody else hates it, so I might as well just pass on it.
Oh, dude, it was so bad.
You seen it?
Oh yeah, we saw it on Christmas Day. It was out on Christmas Day. We went to go see it as a family. I thought it was the worst movie ever. God, I forgot about that. Damn.
Yeah.
Did the 49ers just have their Holmes and Watson year in 2024?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that would be a very crazy comparison, I would say. That's one of the worst movies of all time. And we love Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, but we're comparing the linebacking duo of Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw to that.
Doesn't fit, does it?
Nah, it really doesn't. And, your
Stiller
analogies are usually solid, Steven.
Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan.
I'd probably go with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn.
I could say Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan because after Rush Hour 3, it was decent, but, they were playing hurt.
Did you go also Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan for Shanghai Nights?
And Shanghai Noon, yes.
Yeah, yes.
They were a great duo, Derek.
Didn't see either of those movies.
They had terrific chemistry on screen.
Well, there you go. You asking Walter like Giants takes in the chat here?
Listen, Derek, I'm trying to get a lay of the Giants land here, all right? I haven't been able to watch.
You can ask me. I watched this past weekend, baby.
What do you got for me?
Well, let me tell you. That Matt Chapman guy is pretty special.
Jesus. All right, sweet.
Landon Roop had a not a great outing yesterday, but I don't think that will affect his spot as possibly overtaking Kyle Harrison in the 5th spot of the starting rotation.
Big deal. 5th spot.
And then Jordan Hicks, rough outing as well, but he threw 101 yesterday. Take that, Walter.
Big Jughu winning a batting title. Matt Chapman about to have the best season of his career. Giants will have 230 home run guys. Vibes are strong. See, this is what I'm hoping for. Is for the Giants to run on vibes. My internet's crapping out, isn't it?
Everyone's talking about the vibes. I've heard that over and over and over again. The vibes are great. The vibes are great. Just say what you want to say. Farhan's not there anymore. We get it.
Well, yeah,
Farhan's not there.
That's an obvious. I could say that right now. I could easily say that.
I know, but I was listening to they did the what was it? The MLB Network's 30 and 30, where they go around to each spring training, and Greg Amsinger, who we love on this show, because what I think Giants baseball, I think Greg Amsinger. Like he was talking to Logan Webb about if he's going to pitch 200 innings again, and he pulls him in. He goes, "You know, you're my favorite pitcher, right?" And then Logan's like, "Dude, get the fuck off me." But they interviewed Willie Adames and Bob Melvin, and everybody kept saying the vibes are good. The vibes are good. Just say what you want to say. Farhan's not here to fuck things up.
Yeah, well, the players aren't going to say that, though. Derek.
I know. But that's the first thing that I think about. Anyway, baseball aside, shout out Passion for the Pastime as we're building up this Just Your Opinion, man, the JYOM podcast network. We're going to be doing a dual stream thing. I think the day before the season starts or someday. Well, we'll doing a simultaneous thing with Just Your Opinion, man, and Passion for the Pastime as we
nice.
do like a 3-way with Walter. Huh? Your Wi-Fi, dude. All right, you're fine now. You're catching up.
All right.
So yeah, the Niners lost a lot of guys today, and so did the Raiders. Raiders lost Trayvon Merrick. They lost Nate Hobbs, Ryan Splain. Trayvon Merrick went to the Carolina Panthers. Nate Hobbs goes to the Packers, and Robert Splain goes to the Patriots. I think these are all calculated as well. I think just Pete Carroll wanted to pick and choose who he wants to be part of his defense. Is there anybody like Nate Hobbs is a big loss, I would say. Robert Splain was a pretty good linebacker, but you can always replace somebody like that. Trayvon Merrick was coming into his zone a little bit, but they quickly replaced him as they signed Jeremy Chin today as well. So anybody that stood out to you today, Steven, as far as a big loss for the Raiders?
Spillane was the biggest one. And Merrick too. Is my internet crapping out right now? Because I have the little bars thing on the top saying the connection.
It's getting better. But real quick, shout out to our guy Tim Webb. What up, Tim? In the chat right now.
Nice. What's the segment that he does?
Tim's Tuesday Takes and Trivia, which we won't be able to do tomorrow because the Giants moved up their game.
Oh, God damn it, Giants. You're missing out. You're making us miss out on that. Anyway.
That's the only thing you tuned in for? Not for me? God, Steven.
Derek, I get enough of you twice a week. What do you
Fine. You need more Tim in your life. I get it.
Look, man, if I got like a recommended Bill Murray on Hot Ones or something, I'm going to go over that rather than watching your live stream. Just so although I do listen so I can get like because you do tend to reheat your takes. You tend to put them in the microwave,
regurgitate,
press the one, and then, you reheat them and you bring them on here and they're hot. So I kind of listen so I can kind of get a glimpse as to what you're going to talk about. And then I can have a retort to whatever you're saying. I literally try to play a contrarian as I'm watching it. Like I argue with you through the radio if I'm listening or through the screen.
That's commitment, my friend. Thank you. And I need to watch this Bill Murray Hot Ones.
The Raiders, man. Yeah, it was the Spillane thing. Although Trayvon Merrick, like if Jeremy Chin didn't get signed, I would have some more reservations on Merrick. Merrick's a good player, but he's not like and we talked about him last year, like how you don't really call his name because he's not making like the big plays, but he's also not making the mistakes either. But there's also times when you see number 7 chasing after whomever in the end zone. I think the Robert Spillane one is going to be the one that hurts them, because I think that's one they easily could have re-signed just based on the reaction. A lot of people acting like they're watching Raiders games during the regular season. Well, Robert Spillane played a big role on that team. Yes, he did. He absolutely did. He had the neck looking like Takeo Spikes. Why wouldn't you want that guy back? And I think
no neck whatsoever.
There's a huge I think that's a huge void that you're going to have to fill. And I don't know who they're going to fill it with. I know you said it's easy to replace him. I don't know how easy it is to replace him. Like the 49ers, the Raiders have had such an issue finding middle linebackers really ever since I've been alive, it feels like. And it felt like they had a good one, or at least a solid one that they could keep on the team for a couple of more years and let it ride it out until they get a new contract, maybe sign a rookie. But it feels like they weren't anticipating Mike Vrabel stealing him. I don't know if you saw it, Derek. Did you see how many times he got signed to the practice squad and then put back in the 53-man roster, signed to the practice squad again with the Tennessee Titans when Vrabel was there?
No, I don't remember. I actually didn't know the connection between him and Vrabel.
It was nonstop, dude. It was not like there's a 2018. You just go down, assigned to the practice squad, back on the 53-man, assigned to practice squad. It was nonstop. So I didn't. There was a connection there. I don't think the Raiders knew that. Vrabel, very, very sneaky, and I don't know if there's a backup plan. So I'd say if there's one from the Raiders, it's that one. Also, the Nate Hobbs thing sucks because I really like Nate Hobbs.
Yeah, man, Nate Hobbs was a pretty good corner, and now he goes to Green Bay. So then the Raiders have their work cut out for them. I think, though, Pete Carroll wanted to change the defense and make it his own, and they're going to go heavy in the draft. And I'm coming around to the idea, not that I agree with it. We'll see what happens. But with Najee Harris going to the Chargers, you may make the argument to draft Ashton Genty at 6. Maybe. We'll see, though.
Can you hear that, podcast listeners? That's me rubbing my hands together.
Yeah. You need more lotion on those hands, man. You can hear those calluses.
I do a little bit. Yeah, it's because I'm working hard, Derek. Yard work, pulling weeds out. Got a garden.
Yeah, you do all that shit, I'm sure.
Yeah, hard at work. What was I gonna talk about? Yeah, the running back thing, dude. I don't know what are their other options right now? Who's a free agent that's available?
Linebacker wise?
No, running back wise.
Oh, running back wise. A lot of guys got picked up today. Like Javonte Williams goes to the Cowboys. They needed a running back badly. Najee signed with the Chargers today. That's a great fit for. I mean, like he would have been a great fit as a Raider, because I'm sure Pete Carroll would have loved to run him into the ground. But now Jim Harbaugh will do that. I don't know running back wise. I have to look. I don't think they'll go crazy.
You got Raheem Mostert, Jamal Williams, Gus Edwards, Jeff Wilson, A.J. Dillon, Nick Chubb, Travis Homer. You could re-sign Alexander Madison, I guess, or Amir Abdullah. If I had to pick between one of those two, I'd rather than pick up Abdullah. He gave me much more confidence going, at least the way he closed out last year. But yeah, all the former Niners, really, by the looks of it. A lot of them. JaMychal Hasty's down there too. How about that? Still in the league. Not a lot of options. Not a lot of.
Would they be willing to trade something for Jordan Mason? Would the Niners be willing to do that?
That's what I'm wondering. Because I said that off the top when Matthew Berry had that from the combine, saying don't be surprised if they trade for Jordan Mason. To get in on that. I actually been in on Greenlaw too. After Spillane went, I wanted them to overpay for Dre.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, but I think Pete Carroll has other plans for the defense. We'll see where they go. I think it's mostly going to be like they talk about they want to win right now, but I think they're going to build that defense up through the draft. A lot of young players. So, and like they still got Christian Wilkins right next to Max Crosby. They did re-sign Malcolm Kuntz, who suffered a season-ending injury, I believe, in training camp. So it's good to have him back. He had a solid season before the injury. So good to see him back with Patrick Graham. But I'm not going to go crazy over the Raiders. Like they lost some big pieces today on the defensive side of the football, but I think every one of those guys could be replaced. And Trayvon Merrick was already replaced with Jeremy Chin, who was a solid player with the Panthers and Washington. So we'll see where they go everywhere else. As far as other big news that happened yesterday, as soon as we signed off. Go ahead.
Did we? I don't know if you mentioned it. Did you mention the Malcolm Kuntz thing? I think that's a huge deal.
I literally just did.
You did? Okay, good. Because that's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
That's big.
He had 10 sacks before his injury during training camp?
We talked about him, man. We're like, when we're looking at Tyree Wilson, well, we're thinking number 51 should be doing what he's doing. Like when number 9's in, just the get off is super slow. I mean, you can watch the replay, and it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that one out. You could just watch that in slow-mo replay and see that everyone is getting off the line of scrimmage before he is. Then it's like, God, number 51 just jumps off the screen every time. And, obviously had that season-ending injury last year, but I'm glad they got him back. I also think that really throws a wrench into whatever Tyree Wilson's plans were, because I think I think they're going to battle it out at training camp for that starting spot opposite Max Crosby.
Yeah, but you're always going to rotate guys when it comes to pass rush.
Sure. But you shouldn't have a rotational player that was your first overall pick in the top 10.
No, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, he could be a third down pass rush guy and still get to the quarterback at the end of the day. That's all you ask for?
I asked for more than that from a top 10 pick.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
As far as yesterday when we signed off, Devontae Adams signed with the Rams, and that deal was 2 years. I know that off the top of my head.
Attaboy.
But it was 2 years, $46 million with $26 million guaranteed. So he does not follow Aaron Rodgers, who we presume is going to keep playing. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I think that's the perfect fit. I think that Devontae with Puka Nacua, I think Devontae is older than Cooper Kupp, but he's been more healthy than Cooper Kupp. I think that's perfect. I think that you heard about the other options that Devontae was thinking about, the Niners, the Chargers. He could have gone to the Niners, but the Niners, I just don't think have the money to, throw towards Devontae Adams right now. And then as far as the Chargers, it probably would have been a good fit with Justin Herbert, but they're not going to put a bunch of cash towards a wide receiver. So in the end, he teams up with Matthew Stafford, and it's good for Stafford to have a wide receiver like that at this point in his career. So I think it's a great move for the 49ers, for the Rams, and then 49ers will have to deal with that combination going forward.
Yeah, and I think I said it in the blog. We whatever the title is, Bay Bridge Sports or whatever. Devontae Adams has had some dropping issues over the past couple of years, especially last season, and it's mostly been on third down. A lot of it's been on third down. At least with the Raiders, you could even think of a handful of times where there was just some easy throws and catches, and he just flat out dropped it when he had first down and still some field to go. I'm just wondering, what's it going to look like when Stafford just rifles it in there? Are his hands the same? But that's the only, I don't know, demerit. Gold stars and demerits, Derek. We're taking it back to School of Rock. That's the only demerit. It's the only demerit.
What kind of school is this?
That I put on that move, because other than that, you got two, and then you got Puka Nacua. What more do you want? And Kyron Williams too.
Kyron Williams, they signed back Tutu Atwell, which I'm kind of on. Like he's a fast wide receiver, made a great play against the 49ers this season, but he's just not consistent enough. But yeah, that's a big move for the LA Rams.
He's Hall of Famer, so actually that's an arguable one. Matt Stafford, I think, is first ballot, but I don't know about Adams.
Devontae is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, now that I think about it, he might get in, but it won't be like a first ballot type thing unless he wins a championship again or ever.
Yeah, I gotta wait till see what the end of his career looks like. And then the big old trade, DK Metcalf gets traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a second-round pick, and he gets paid immediately. He signs a 4-year, $132 million deal, so he gets paid $30 a year, or I think it's 33, whatever it is, 30 a year, something like that. I wonder, like, do I like DK Metcalf more than Brandon Ayuk? Yes. Do I think either should be paid $30 million a year? No. I'm surprised the Pittsburgh Steelers, who normally don't make moves like this, went all in to get a wide receiver, which makes me wonder a couple things. Are they going to keep George Pickens because he's extremely inconsistent? He's a good blocker. He's a pretty good wide receiver when he plays. There's some games where he just takes off. Where, what was it? Is a game against the Cincinnati Bengals this year where I was so pissed off? Where I was like, George Pickens should be better than that. He like drops so many passes. He talks a bunch of shit. He's demonstrative with the media and just doesn't back it up sometimes. And then the other thing that made me think of DK Metcalf was, so are they going to sign back Russell Wilson? And Justin Fields left today. A real overpay, I would say, for the New York Jets for a team that's rebuilding to put a lot of cash towards Justin Fields, who, let's be honest, hasn't played very well and hasn't played a lot. But they're going him with, Aaron Glenn's Jets as the starter. He gets a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed, so most of it guaranteed. It made me think, is Russell Wilson coming back with the Pittsburgh Steelers? And at this point in time, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but it sounds like it's either going to be Russell Wilson back with the Steelers or it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. And it sounds like the Steelers are leaning towards Aaron Rodgers, which I don't know, man. Like, that's probably the best case scenario as far as a team he could go to, but I don't know how it's going to look. So as far as just the DK Metcalf move, I think that's going to benefit the Steelers. It just depends on who the quarterback is.
I don't know. I mean, what should we expect? The New York Jets had Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams and Breece Hall, and they still couldn't make it work. Now Aaron Rodgers is going there with no running back, maybe a better offensive line than DK and George Pickens, two guys who have, well, actually DK doesn't dog it like Pickens has in the past, but two guys who, are very, I think the word you used was perfect, demonstrative, who can get very frustrated outwardly a lot. Guys who Mike Tomlin would not be afraid to call out. I don't know if that would fit, but I wouldn't expect Russell Wilson to go back just based on how Arthur Smith was talking about. I'm sure they got DK Metcalf, but I think the Steelers were just there because they had an opportunity to trade for him. I don't think they were trading for him just because, oh yeah, this is a perfect guy to have with Russell Wilson. Jets were in it, but
Steven,
I don't think it was. Yeah,
you're breaking up a little bit.
Damn it. Well, I don't think it was the same with Russell Wilson and the Steelers. I don't think it is. I don't.
Why don't you leave the chat and then come back in? You're breaking up a little bit right now.
All righty.
Steven's gonna leave for a little bit, and I'll come back and see how his internet connection is. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it sounds like Russell Wilson probably won't be back with the Steelers. If that's the case, then I probably would anticipate him signing with the Giants. It sounds like at this point, it's either Aaron Rodgers goes to the Giants or Steelers, and then that domino will affect Russell Wilson. And I don't think either of those guys are close to where they were before. And I would say also that the Steelers are probably in a better chance to win. That move is a little bit better. But as far as Russell Wilson, I mean, whatever they do, like the Giants sound like they want to move up to get a quarterback in this draft. They want to get Cam Ward as opposed to Shedeur Sanders. So I think it's looking like Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers and Russell Wilson goes to the Giants, but I don't think that's going to save Brian Dable or Joe Shane's job. Steven's back. So we'll see where the quarterback dominoes go. And now the Vikings don't have a starting quarterback. Well, at least we don't think they. Well, they could go with J.J. McCarthy. They could sign back Daniel Jones as their backup. We've heard that Aaron Rodgers is the dark horse for Minnesota. As Sam Darnold today goes to the Seattle Seahawks, as we all guessed, and he signs what was the contract? Hang on a second.
105.
Steven, what was it?
3 years, $105 million.
Yeah. So it sounds like that was also the contract that the Seahawks were willing to give Geno Smith, and Geno Smith's like, no, I want more than that, which still makes me a little worried about his time with the Raiders. And good on Sam Darnold. I thought he would have got a little bit more, but I think it's not a bad situation for him. He established a relationship with Clint Kubiak when they were together with San Francisco, and he's got Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, I want to see what else they do in Seattle because they lost two of their wide receivers and their quarterback. It's going to be very different for them going forward, but at least they're not rebuilding. They got the quarterback of the future with Sam Darnold. And then
what?
What's up?
Quarterback of the future.
I mean, they signed him. He's going to be there for 3 years.
He's the quarterback of the future the same way Geno Smith is the Raiders quarterback of the future. They could draft someone and find a rookie in the mid to late rounds this year, or even wait till next year and have that guy take over. I mean, he's the of the near future.
Steven.
What?
Where the hell is your router?
It's right here.
You got some issues tonight, my friend.
Shit.
Yeah, you're probably right. And thinking about that statement now, Sam Darnold's the quarterback for the here and now. They definitely could draft another guy, but I think they're comfortable with Sam Darnold. We'll see how he plays. It's just, long-term future, you're right. That's a ridiculous thing to say. But for the next 3 seasons, I don't know if they'll bring in some competition for him, but I do think that they feel fairly comfortable with Sam Darnold as their quarterback going forward.
It's my word.
No, you're still breaking up a lot.
Ah, shit.
What? Yeah, Steven.
That was a joke. That was
okay. I'm gonna keep going here.
Okay. Let me log out and reset and do all that good stuff.
Okay, you do that.
Yeah.
All right, Steven's gonna leave, and then I'll tap dance. What is this? Derek never has anything from Ernie 1. What does that mean? Only time I've ever seen Derek with anything was when he was in the shed. Anything with what? I don't know what you mean there, Ernie 1. As far as other moves that the NFC West made, or moves in the NFC West, the Cardinals signed Josh Sweat today. You mean decorations in my place? Well, yeah, I was staying at my dad's place, and there was stuff in the shed. I don't know. What do you want me to put? I don't know. I'll get some pictures up eventually. I don't really like that sometimes. I know it kind of looks like I, have nothing in my apartment, but there's stuff. I'll get pictures and everything. AJ Cruz, please tell me Copes is back tomorrow, Derek. Yes, he is. Don't worry. All right, Steven's back. How we feel? How we looking now, Steven?
I don't see the bars on my screen, so that's a good sign.
Well, that's an improvement.
Does it work so far?
Yeah, you're coming in all right, but you're frozen.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're breaking up still a little bit. This won't be a super long one we do tonight.
All
right. Josh Sweat signed with the Arizona Cardinals. What was that contract? He signed for Josh Sweat signed a 4-year, $76.4 million deal with $41 million guaranteed. So and now we just lost Steven's picture. I know, too much Derek. I know, Tacky. Yeah, like that was going to happen eventually with the Eagles. They weren't going to be able to. You found your perfect spot in the chair. You all right?
Yeah, it's okay. We're good.
All right. I was just saying, Steven, that guys like Josh Sweat and Milton Williams left today for the Eagles, and that was kind of expected because, as I said before, they put all their money into the offense, and eventually they're going to have to pay guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and eventually Nolan Smith. So they're not going to put a lot of money towards guys that are good players but not great players and flash in the Super Bowl. So the NFC West got better today with all the moves that, Seahawks getting Sam Darnold, the Rams getting Devontae Adams, the Cardinals getting more pass rush with Josh Sweat, and new teams up now with Jonathan Gannon, who was his defensive coordinator with the Eagles before. But the Niners got to make some moves, man. The Niners got to do something, and I think we're all waiting on them to sign Joey Bosa. I think it all depends on how much money he's going to make. Maybe they're hammering that out right now.
Well, Derek, I don't know if you saw Mike Silver tweet as we were on the little, what do we call this? On the air, on the pod, live, whatever.
On the stream.
The 49ers and Dolphins have each made offers to free agent edge rusher Joey Bosa in the same relative price range. He'd get less than $10 million in 2025 with either scenario. So does he want to go join his brother, or does he want to go to his dad's former team that drafted him in the first round in the late 80s?
That's interesting because with no state income tax, I think Joey might lean Miami because then he can't collect all that money.
They're also, don't they live in Florida? I think
Yes.
the brothers live in Florida, so it's closer. Come on, man. Where would you rather live if you're a Bosa brother? Would you rather live close to home, or would you rather live? I don't know. I mean, I guess you can go to San Jose. There's obviously big parts of San Jose. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't think about the Dolphins. I wouldn't be surprised if Joey goes there.
Yeah, I mean, to play for your dad's team and he gets to wear, 97. I think that's what his dad wore, or maybe his dad wore a different number when he was with the Dolphins.
His dad wore 97. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be special. If I had to guess right now, I probably would say Miami for Joey Bosa. But I think if those are the only two teams that made offers to him, and it's, what was it, 10 million?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shit, I was going to say maybe 15 at best. But if the best offer he's getting is like a 1-year deal for 10 million, given the injuries in his past, yeah, I'd say
that's also where the tax comes fully into play. Although I heard something though, where it depends. Like if you live in a place for a certain amount of time, then you won't get as impacted by that income tax. That's why a lot of these players don't live in California full time. Like that's why George Kittle lives in Tennessee. That's why. Right. Obviously, I just mentioned the Bosas. They live in Florida. I don't even know where Brock Purdy lives, but yeah, if you're talking about less than 10 million, like how much of that is going to get taxed? If you're actually playing here, what are you really making? Like maybe 7, 6?
Yeah.
I'm no mathematician, Derek. I don't know.
Neither am I, obviously. But we'll see tomorrow.
Major.
I think this. What's up?
Or an econ major, whatever.
Yeah. I think this probably comes to a head tomorrow, and we'll see where Joey Bosa signs. If I had to guess, I would probably lean towards Miami. But then again, it's hard to, walk away from the opportunity to play with your brother. And the Niners need pass rush. I don't know if Joey Bosa is going to be that much of a difference maker. He'll help, but they're not getting this isn't like getting Dee Ford back in the day or anything like that. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Joey Bosa tomorrow. And then other moves that were made today. I really like what the Chicago Bears did today. Whew. They pretty much changed their entire offensive line. They traded for Jonah Jackson and Joe Tooney. And then today they signed Drew Dahlman, the center from the Atlanta Falcons, to give him a big-time contract. And that's something that they really needed on their offensive line. And then this morning, one of my favorite players for the longest time, Grady Jarrett, who was a defensive tackle for the Atlanta Falcons, he gets cut, and then maybe an hour later signs a big deal with the Chicago Bears. I'll get that number for you real quick. He signed
3 years, $34 million, 28 guaranteed.
There you go. And they also got, this guy's pretty good, sleeper in NFL free agency, Dayo Odangbo from the Indianapolis Colts. Like that pronunciation, Steven?
I was hoping you'd botch that.
You thought I would, but I've been practicing.
Wait, is his name Dayo or Tayo?
Dayo. Fuck you. Fuck you. Now everyone in the chat's going to love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as guy like the Patriots spent a lot of money today. Big money on Milton Williams. He gets 26 million a year. They got Robert Splain. They got Harold Landry from Tennessee.
Yeah.
No, they made some moves today. I don't know if it's going to equate to them being a better football team, but they definitely had money to spend. And they also got Josh Dobbs, which makes me believe that in what was tweeted out today, Joe Milton will probably be traded from the New England Patriots.
Yeah, he'll be on the way. No, I kind of disagree with the assessment that it's, you don't know if that's going to translate into winning them games. I do think that's absolutely going to win them games.
Okay.
It's not going to win them the Super Bowl, though. It's like Bill Belichick said, our off season doesn't mean you're going to win. Whatever you're doing in the free agency and the draft, it doesn't mean you're going to win the Super Bowl. That was a terrible impression, but I kept running with it.
No. At least mine's a little bit better.
But this one, look, I don't think they're going to overtake the Bills in the AFC East just based off of this. But if I had to take the other three, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, I might lean Patriots depending on what Drake May looks like in his second year.
Interesting. And they also signed Morgan Moses, which, by the way, did you notice that Diana Rossini let something slip over the weekend?
No.
She tweeted out Morgan Moses getting released, but she had a little Patriot icon in the corner.
Oy.
And that awful announcing noticed that, and she commented saying like, "Oh, that's just my social media guy messed up." I think a lot of these insiders definitely know what's going on well before the fuckery, the legal tampering period begins. So I think that was evident today.
Ooh, yeah, that's. Did you also see the thing with Jalen Moore too?
How quickly he signed?
Yeah. Apparently, they're gonna be investigating. I mean, at least people are calling on them to be investigated just based on how quickly that move was made.
Well, how quickly Hassan Reddick signed with the Buccaneers or Chris Godwin. I mean, with Chris Godwin, you could sign back with your original team, so that's nothing. Right. And he signed, what was it, a 3-year deal for $33 million, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, yeah, Chris Godwin, we always expect him to leave in free agency, and he never does. So he's teaming up with Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield once again. Yeah, like you can investigate all these NFL free agency things because they happen too quickly, but the NFL loves this shit. You might as well just call this the first day of the league year. Like, why do we have the legal tampering period? Just allow NFL free agents to do this shit.
Yeah. Also, I mean, just don't go doing a press conference and then announcing to the world that you guys have been talking.
As Kirk Cousins did a year ago. Now, my thing with
Kirk,
guys
trying to look all cool, like cordial, like, oh yeah, I thank everyone on the staff. I thank all the lower level people. It's like, well, you're not supposed to have talked to that guy.
Exactly.
You're supposed to only talk to the front office.
That's the thing. Kirk Cousins. So I saw the little quarterback trade today between the Browns and Eagles. Kenny Pickett gets traded to the Cleveland Browns. Dorian Thompson-Robinson gets traded to the Eagles, which that fits their scheme a little bit better. Jalen Hurts, similar type of player to Dorian Thompson-Robinson as far as just mobility and that type of scheme. Kenny Pickett going to the Browns, they just need quarterback options. We keep hearing that they're probably going to draft a quarterback number 2. And I got to believe something happened there with Myles Garrett where he got assurances that they're going to go in a good direction quarterback-wise.
Yeah.
But to me, that's like the Browns are now winning around for Kirk Cousins. And that's something that hasn't developed yet. We're waiting on Kirk Cousins to be cut. And I don't know if the Falcons are just going to hold him hostage, which sucks. Because if you do it too late, he's not going to have a team to go to.
Right.
And you're going to pay him $30 million a year just to back up Michael Penix because you can. They're not really devoting that much cash anywhere else. They have a rookie quarterback on salary. So you can pay, like your most expensive player could be your backup quarterback, which would be insane. But that way you never have to worry about, if Michael Penix gets hurt, then Kirk Cousins comes in. But if you're Kirk Cousins, you're like, I only have so much time left in my career. What the fuck are you doing? You made me believe that I was going to be the starting quarterback of this team going forward. Should you have drafted my replacement that quickly? Probably not, but that's the way you did things. But now that you have made him the starter, at least let me go do something else.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel for Kirk Cousins, honestly.
Well, Kirk is also Derek. He's also involved in another innocent, I guess you could call it scandal, something that's been revealed here. But I don't know if you saw this. He recently had a meeting with the old president, President Trump. And
did not see. Oh, yeah, I did see this.
There's a couple of things that are hilarious about this. Number one, the guy says future Hall of Fame quarterback Kirk Cousins. Stretch.
Yeah.
Number two, the scandal here, Derek, the controversy. Apparently, Kirk Cousins is 6'3", and that's what Donald Trump is listed as. Donald Trump's listed at 6'3", so the president lying about his height.
Yeah, what would you say there? 6'1", 6 foot?
6'1". I mean, take the hair. You got a couple inches with the hair. I don't know. Maybe the tan shrunk him. Is there such thing as shrinking in the tanning bed?
Might be.
I don't know. Anyway, future Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer Kirk Cousins. Loved him in Washington. Loved him in Minnesota. Love him now with the Atlanta Falcons. Love Coop. Love a good bonfire.
Look, I'm taller than he is, okay? The cameraman was pushed back. Cameraman was way farther than he should have been. That was a bad angle. I am 6'3", everyone. I am 75 inches tall. Okay?
I love Kirko Thuggins. It's the only thugs that I like.
Oh, man. Kirko Bango Bongo. Yeah. 6'3". That's brutal. It's tough scene for the old Prez.
Yeah. Remember that impression, everybody, for our Jammies for next season.
That's all we got, man. That's all I had on the Jammies this year. That was my only candidate.
You know what? Now that I think about it, you know what I did for prediction of the year? I did like Antonio Pierce only being one and done in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Remember when I said that Sam Darnold would have career highs in passing yards and touchdowns?
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think I should flip that. I think that's my prediction of the year.
Can't flip it, Derek.
All right, too late.
Moments
All right,
back.
then I'll say this. Sam Darnold is the quarterback of the future for the Seattle Seahawks. When I say future, I mean the next 3 seasons.
Wow. All right. Excellent.
Really going on a limb there.
Yeah.
Anything else that stood out today, Steven, as far as the fuckery?
Not much that we already haven't talked about. I mean, I guess it would be just the Patriots nonstop signing. Like, sorry, the cat's knocking stuff over. It's really distracting.
Damn it, Phoebe.
Signing just a whole bunch of again, like you mentioned, really good players, but not great. I not a lot like stood out and kind of made me go, whoa.
Yeah.
That's the only thing really, like if I had to choose one, I guess it would have been Justin Fields getting that $40 million contract. I'm trying to think back to like earlier in the day at work. I was like, that was one I didn't expect. I thought he was going to go back to the Steelers, and then, we'd have a whole thing with Rodgers and the Jets. Then like the Steelers stuff started coming down. Nothing too surprising, really. It's just that my friend Shahab was mentioned from Ian Rappaport during the whole Twitter thing.
It's a big day for you, man.
That's wild. So shout out to him.
There you go. One thing we didn't mention today, the Commanders made a lot of moves, and then they wanted to get better at left tackle. They traded for Laramie Tunsil, which I did not see coming.
That's one where I was okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
They traded away 3 draft picks to get him, and Laramie Tunsil's been traded twice now. He went from Miami to Houston. Was in Houston for what has it got to be like 6-7 years now?
Yeah.
And then lands in Washington. Did not have a great season blocking for Houston. In fact, the whole entire Houston Texans offensive line was not great this season. But Laramie Tunsil, he's one of the higher paid left tackles in all of football, so the Commanders can make that salary work. I don't know about that one, though. It kind of seems like the Commanders are making interesting moves. I thought they made interesting moves a year ago, too. They got the best out of Bobby Wagner and Austin Eckler and a lot of guys that played with Dan Quinn on that Dallas defense. But I don't know if it's going to be the same success going forward. I think just Adam Peters likes to be a little bit flashy, a little flashier than John Lynch. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be.
Well,
I think they just made a great move in drafting Jaden Daniels.
yeah, that's the thing. It's all contingent on how he plays, whether he goes through a sophomore slump or he builds on his O'Roy campaign. Like I don't think there's, none of these moves made me think like, oh man, the Commanders are going to be favorites for the NFC now. Like I think actually when we were talking about the Commanders last week, I totally omitted the Eagles from being in their division, which is a little embarrassing. But it all depends on what Jaden Daniels looks like. I mean, I think getting Laramie Tunsil is a good deal. It might hamstring them in the future, but they got better. That's all we can really say based off those moves. They did get better.
And this just came in. Elandon Roberts, who I think was with the Raiders before, or no, he was with the Dolphins. So Dolphins, was he with the Raiders? Landon Roberts?
Doesn't sound familiar.
I don't think so. So maybe Dolphins, Steelers. Now he is a Raider once again. He just signed, or not once again, I guess for the first time. He signs a 1-year, $3 million deal. So there's your middle linebacker, Steven, going forward.
Okay, gotcha.
There you go. He's replacing Robert Spillane.
All right. Speaking of random Raiders, I just want to mention this Spadoni. If you want to like Spadoni, sometimes obviously no one cares about the Raiders, so we're not gonna talk about them on Bay Area Sports Radio because they're in Vegas. But little things slip out with Spadoni, and it was great the other day. You would have laughed because they were interviewing Gary Payton II. It was a great interview in the morning, and he was promoting something. I forgot what it was. So forgive me on that if anyone sees this and they're watching. I apologize. But he said they're working with this former athlete, and he's helping them, and then his name, like it had like a Lang in front of it, or at least it sounded like a Lang. And Spadoni just at the front immediately goes, Langston Walker? Just got so excited for a Langston Walker mention.
Dude, I've seen Langston. Like, you might see Langston Walker walking around Montgomery Street.
Really?
I don't know what his job is, but I've seen him a couple times, and I'm like, that's Langston Walker. He's in a suit and everything.
Well, he is from the Bay Area completely,
yeah. Right? He may have a corporate job now, but I have definitely seen Langston Walker walking around Market Street.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, he just Langston Walker? It's just the most random Raider ever. It's like, nope, not him.
Langston Walker had a huge blocked field goal against the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
Remember it well. Stuff. There you go. Lastly, the big news that happened last night, along with DK Metcalf getting traded and Devontae Adams signing with the Rams, Josh Allen resets the quarterback market in a different way. He's making $55 million a year, but it's not the AAV. He gets $330 million as far as a contract, total value, and I believe it's $230 million guaranteed, the largest guarantee in NFL history. And he had 4 years left on his contract, which was a pretty significant deal in the first place. But when you are MVP and you pick up everyone around you, like the whole narrative that Josh Allen was doing it by himself this season, I'm like, he had some good players. Matt Collins, #1 wide receiver this year, although he leaves to go to New England now, so he can still be barefoot in the snow. But and also James Cook had like 15 rushing touchdowns this year, so it wasn't just Josh Allen by himself. Nevertheless, he didn't have superstar talent like he did before with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. It wins MVP, so the Bills reward him. They give him a huge contract. He deserves it way more than some of these other quarterbacks. And if you're looking for some parallel to Brock Purdy, there isn't one. Like, there's nothing that happened with Josh Allen today impacts Brock Purdy.
No.
We could, listen to everything that's going on with the Niners, semi-threats coming from reporters like Adam Schefter and Albert Breer who say like, well, they could just make him play on the franchise tag. I do not see that happening. Everyone that's connected to the Niners believes that eventually they're going to pay this guy, and maybe the next couple of weeks here, hopefully. But we're not going to get. I know that Mike Silver said that they're going to be ruthless when it's deemed appropriate, but I think at the end of the day, they're still going to sign Brock Purdy. So,
sure.
Big props to Josh Allen getting his contract, and hopefully the Brock Purdy contract saga comes to an end here.
So how much? Let me. I mean, so when does his current contract end?
Josh Allen?
Yeah. Where did you say?
Well, he had 4 years left on it still.
4 years left. So this new one isn't going to kick in until what? 2029.
Yes. I'm reading the whole thing here. So he makes 33 million a year, which includes 250 million guaranteed, largest guarantee ever given to an NFL player. Allen had 4 years left on the deal, but the Bills reward their franchise QB with a new benchmark deal. So does that
Oh,
mean? But I think that new deal comes into play.
right. Okay. So it actually goes through 2030 because the previous deal was from his rookie extension, and it looks like this one just takes over for it. So
Yeah.
they have them until 2030. That's about when the new CBA is going to be going to be up, and there's going to be all that. Look, man, I mean I think that's just good business. You have your quarterback. He's as good as he is with Josh Allen. He's as beloved as he is in Buffalo. You try as hard as you can to make him the lifer for your team, and you feel like you can win a Super Bowl with him. I think they had to get that deal done, but this also, I think I don't think the money has anything to do with Brock Purdy. Like, I don't think that financially this has any connection to what Purdy's going to get from the Niners. But I do think that this is an example as to why they need to pay him right now. They need to, like, they can't wait because the quarterback market's always changing. It's always fluctuating. And what if Purdy has a miraculous season? What if he has another where he leads them to the Super Bowl? It's like right now, it seems like you can get him at a bargain. If you could pay him like whatever in $50 million, I think that'd be a remarkable deal if you get some great output from him because you run the risk. Like, I don't know. The franchise deadline's passed, right? They can't tag him.
No, they can't tag him.
Right. They can't tag him anymore. So that's off the table. Like, I think you got to get this done now just so you
Wait,
don't
you're talking about Purdy?
Yeah.
Well, he's not a free agent, so they can't tag him. It wouldn't come into play until next season.
Right.
Still got 1 year left on his deal.
Okay, gotcha. So they could tag him for next year. Yeah. And why would Purdy want to do that? Like, that obviously would work in the team's favor, but not really Purdy. That's a total.
Yeah, I mean, then you're going down the Cincinnati Bengals route with T. Higgins, where he's resentful towards you. Right. It makes no sense. And eventually, when you tag him, you're basically giving him a 1 year deal for $41 million. And the next year, you're giving him 1 year for $51 million. So it's better business to just lock him up on a 3 or 4 year or 5 year contract. And yes, you're gonna have to bite the bullet there, but you already did that today by letting so many guys walk away. 7 guys left your team today, and it's all guys that you could probably live without, with the exception of maybe Drake Greenlaw the most. But yeah, this is how they're going to do business going forward.
Right. So, okay, let me pull these up. I totally lost it. I had it open and I totally lost it, Derek. God damn it. Hang on.
Well, then you could totally redeem yourself.
I'm totally redeeming myself here. Okay, let's just, you know what? I'll open what I'm opening right now. I got a little Spo Track open. A little Spo Track. Who doesn't like Spo Track? Love Spo Track. Okay. So
I think it's Spa Track.
Spa Track, Spo Track, whatever.
I was listening to them pronounce it, and I think it's Spa Track.
Really?
Yeah. Even though it's spelled Spo Track.
Wow. So if we are looking at, say, I don't know, Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa range, if they can manage to get him a deal, probably like 4 years, $50 million a year, but those two guys, 167, 170 guaranteed. Like, if you can promise Brock Purdy $200 million with what? Somewhere that's close to that number, probably above Jordan Love. Jordan Love, 160 guaranteed. Kyler Murray, 159. If you can get him signed to a 4-year deal, averaging out to $50 million a year, and you can guarantee him 163, 165, do you think that's the range we're looking at here with Purdy, or is that like the ceiling? Is that like the cap that you're reaching with him? I mean, they're probably going to play hardball there, but I have a feeling that's what Purdy would want to go for.
Yeah, I what was
Would that
it?
be wrong?
You said 163 for how much? For how many years?
I'm saying 4 years, 4 years, 200 million. So you'd be averaging to 50 million a year, but a
Yeah.
majority of it's guaranteed.
Yeah, I think that will work out. I think that if you're
That's got to
Brock
be what he's
Purdy,
looking. That's got to be what he's looking for, right?
yeah,
Like,
if you're Brock Purdy, you make the argument for more money, but I think, you know, at the end of the day too, they'll play hardball with you. They'll say like, "Oh, compared to what you were making before, this is obviously a raise." Like, no shit, but I've outperformed how little money I was making before. So, um, I think we're gonna keep talking about this. This will go on and on and on until it doesn't go on anymore. Um, and they just want to do better business this year, but they still
yep.
gotta they gotta pay the quarterback. That's why they're doing all of this. They want to be smarter with their moves. So they don't want to completely just go crazy on Purdy's deal. At the same time, Jed shouldn't have said anything a year ago. It was a mistake. And now Jed York's getting more involved with the organization now. He's telling Kyle, take a seat, sit down. I'm going to do things my way now. I'm going to talk to Parag and John Lynch, and that's how we're going to hammer out some contracts. But I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know how good it is for Jed York to be involved with the football team. It was very nice for a while when John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were doing their thing. But after one bad season, now Jed York comes in and is going to put his hands around this team, and I don't know how that's going to go. And they'll get a deal done with Purdy. The whole Ayuk thing, like I said yesterday, like they're most likely going to trade him if there's a person that's dumb enough to agree to the trade. So I still don't know if that's going to happen. But they just want to make better and smarter moves. So they're going to probably take their sweet time with this Brock Purdy deal, but hopefully not as long as Ayuk, and I doubt it will go as long as Ayuk.
Jed York is my top candidate for when we see him in public for the first time, because we haven't seen him for a while. You're like, well, his hair's got a little bit grayer. Like, he looked a little younger last time we saw him. Yeah, he's my candidate for that. Kyle Shanahan was always that guy. Every time he stepped to the podium, someone always had something to say about Shanahan's appearance. Jed York is my candidate this year for, he's aged a little bit.
Not so much the gray. I can definitely say this because I've been down this road, and that's why I shave my head. When you get the bald spot at the top of the dome, right here, that's when you got to shave the whole thing.
Has he already gotten that?
Oh yeah, dude. It's whenever I see Jed York in press conferences, that's the first thing I say is like, man, that bald spot's bad. He's got like the Kevin Durant crater going on.
Right. Yeah, where it's like, come on, man, get that thing in order.
Yeah, like it's okay, baby. Just come home. I get it. Just come home. Just realize bald is beautiful.
Oh man.
And on that note, Warriors right now are closer game than I thought. I'll have to go back and see the beginning of this. 88-80 right now against the Portland Trail Blazers. They might be playing down to their competition. Steph Curry shoots a three, and now they're up 91-80. So we'll see where this one goes. Anything else for tonight, Steven? I think I was just focusing on the fuckery.
Nothing for tonight. I got nothing except for excited for a little Giants baseball. Yankees hurt. Did you see all that with the Yankees? Garrett Cole.
Yeah, Garrett Cole out for the season, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of a big deal.
How about did you see Susan Slusser's article where Blake Snell basically said Giants never talked to me?
Yeah, that's a pretty big one. And
are you surprised though?
No, not surprised. Speaking of not surprised, how about that exclusive that Ken Rosenthal got on The Athletic? Mo Vaughn admits to using HGH to help his legs during his career.
Did not see that at all.
Yeah, hang on. Let me pull this up because I saw this and I'm thinking, didn't we already know that? Isn't that something that like Mo Vaughn, HGH, he was obviously named in the Mitchell report.
Just real quick though, Otis Bird says here, Blake Snell never really gave the Giants a chance to. I don't know about that, Otis Bird. Like it was quite a bit of time when was it like the Wednesday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving that Blake Snell signed that contract?
Yeah.
So enough time had passed when the season ended. You want to know my opinion on the whole thing? I think that we talked to JT Snow when It was towards the end of the season. Tolbert Copes talked to JT Snow. And when asked about bringing back Blake Snell, he goes, I would not bring back Blake Snell. He definitely gave me a bad vibe when he decided to not pitch that last game of the season because he didn't want to ruin his chances going into free agency. Rich Aurelius said the same thing. And these are guys that are close to Buster Posey. I think Buster Posey was saying the right things at his press conference, but in reality, he was like, rather have Corbin Burns, rather have guys that are going to pitch longer in innings, rather have guys that are not so dependent on the money. Well, and turns out Corbin Burns was, but
they also didn't talk to Corbin Burns either. They didn't make an offer nearly as much as Corbin Burns got for the Diamondbacks, so you could take that, you'd throw that one out the window.
Well, they talked to Corbin Burns, and Susan Slusser caught up with Corbin Burns, and I guess Corbin Burns gave him what he was looking for in a contract, and then that's when things died down with the Giants.
I'd say the Giants screwed up when they did the stupid 1-and-1 contract with Snell. If you're going to give him a contract, do it so it doesn't help them test free agency. Like, no one ever thinks of that 1-in-1 deal and says, you know what, I'm going to take that option. No, they're just using it because it's a test to get through free agency. No, they should have guaranteed him a little bit more money if they wanted to keep him around.
I hear that, but I will say one thing, and this relates to the Corbin Burns contract. I think down the line, Buster Posey needs to be willing to give out contracts that have opt-outs. That's something that definitely could prevent them signing bigger names because Buster's so hell-bent on doing things the Giants way, where you are committed to the franchise going forward. There's no opt-out for you to leave the team. And they probably will build this team up more through the farm system and draft and things like that. They're probably not going to go all out. Like Giants then win their 3 World Series by going out and signing big names. But if they want to compete with the Dodgers and the Padres and Diamondbacks in their own division, then eventually they'll need to give out those contracts.
Sure. By the way, this one, the headline, Mo Vaughn, fearsome slugger, named in the Mitchell report, admits to using HGH, an exclusive. Yeah. And the only
what were the details?
I don't know, just that he was injured and he was just using HGH. There's really nothing more to it.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just he was doing an interview about how, like, his 12-year-old son has reinvigorated his love for baseball because, like, he's coaching him and doing all these things. So in what turned out to be a fun interview, he just casually revealed that he was doing HGH during his career to keep it afloat. And then Ken Rosenthal put it as an exclusive.
Well, there you go.
So it's just, it felt like an Onion article.
I really want to talk about this, but I'm going to give you a bombshell right now.
Oh, boy.
Ken Rosenthal was like, oh, let me adjust my bow tie here. All right, Steven, that's all I got for tonight. And you're going to be off on Wednesday. You're going to Las Vegas?
Correct.
Can I ask why?
No particular reason. It's a long story, but I'm meeting up with a couple of friends out there. One of them being Tyler, who you met.
Yep.
And Tyler's ex-roommate who lives out there in Vegas. We're just going to go out there and hang out. He just basically told me a month ago that he was heading out there. So I found a cheap flight and found a hotel room, and here we are.
There you go. We'll have a great time, my man. And real quick, they brought it up here in the chat. How about the report that the Barlows are interested in buying the Tampa Bay Rays? That is interesting. My thing, though, is MLB's asking the current owner of the Tampa Bay Rays to sell the team. I think we're all thinking the same thing. Why didn't they do the same thing with John Fisher? I guess John Fisher is connected better with Rob Manfred, so that's why they let that go. And the A's or the MLB wanted to go to Vegas, but you're going to ask one owner to sell his stake in the team while another just fucks over an entire fan base? Okay.
Yeah. Revenue, Derek, revenue, because Major League Baseball clearly thinks they have a market in Vegas. And, like, let's look at the Raiders. Like, Allegiant Stadium, like, it sucks, right? For Raider fans, it sucks. For the diehards that are still in the Bay Area, it sucks, especially seeing all the fans that just surround that stadium. But they're making a lot of money. Still making a lot of money. I bet you the one guy who won't tell you it sucks is Roger Goodell or whoever the NFL's CFO is, because it's raking in cash. and you're bringing fans from all over. All I'm seeing is, but I think it's going to be worse with the A's, though. I really do, because
because no one gives a shit they're going to be there. That's the truth.
And I'm seeing just so many tweets, posts, whatever. I'm not going to respect Elon's platform, even though we're on it right now.
We're giving money towards him, which I hate.
Well, chainsaw through the bureaucracy. But there's a lot of posts out there that Vegas people aren't happy. And I think I saw something where it might have been an exaggeration, but someone said it feels like 99% of Nevada residents do not care that Vegas is going to be there. And it is going to be a shit show where the renderings are showing a bunch of green and gold in the stands, but really you're going to see jerseys from all over because people are just going to want to go to Vegas to take in a baseball game.
Absolutely. And get the vibe, Steven. Go around Vegas and ask around and see if people give a shit about the A's. When I was there a year ago for the Super Bowl, people were pissed that the A's were coming to town.
Yep. It's all about, dude, that's what it's all about for the Giants this year. That's what I'm looking forward to in 2025. I think with Walter, the Austin combination, I think the vibes are rolling right now with the Giants. It's all about vibes.
It's all about the vibes, baby.
They're running on vibes this year. They may not have the best talent, and God, I just can't believe the Dodgers added Roki Sasaki and still got Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Like, Sasaki made us all forget about Yamamoto for a second. Yeah, they got two of the best pitchers to come out of Japan in a really, really long time.
You could believe it.
They got Ohtani coming back too, but it's all about vibes, baby. Vibe off.
That should be the slogan this year. Like in years past of Giants baseball, nothing like it, or in the 80s. Come on, Giants, do. Hang in there. This year should be check out the vibes.
Check out the vibes. We're all about the vibes.
Yeah, and everyone's just wearing sunglasses. The vibes are immaculate.
We're like Lloyd Christmas in the orange tuxedo at the bar, putting out the vibe.
Put out the vibe. There you go. Like to eat her farver beans with some. What's the whole thing?
I'd like to eat her liver with some farver beans and a nice Chianti.
On that note,
this party really died.
Kill the Owls. By the way, the Giants are taking on the Sacramento A's tomorrow, and that's what I'm calling them this year, Sacramento A's, because they got Sacramento on their fucking sleeves. So as far as I'm concerned, they're Sacramento.
All right.
There you go. All right, everybody. So Steven's taking off on Wednesday, and we'll have more fuckery to discuss at 7:15. And Alon, our good buddy Alon Desai, will be joining me on Wednesday. And then on Sunday, it's been a while in the making, but we got him. Mike Silver is going to join us. So he'll come on. He'll tell us some crazy stories. Hopefully his voice is not too gone. You ever hear Mike Silver a day after drinking?
No, Derek, I have not.
His voice is all over the place. So hopefully he doesn't go crazy this St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Well, yeah, prepare for both of us. I mean, I'm going to Vegas, and then St. Patrick's Day weekend, man. Sunday is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Well, by the way, did you see that you still go around? Well, you're not that close anymore. You're kind of close, I guess, to the where your studio is now. But did you see that the Market Street or Front Street St. Patrick's Day party is going to be on St. Patrick's Day on a Monday? The one they do right outside of Schroeder's in Harrington's.
Ew.
Yeah, don't do that on Monday. Do it this Friday. What are we doing?
I know, that's ridiculous.
They've always done it on a Friday. Now we want to go and get fucked up on a Monday, and they have to go to work the next day. The Warriors are playing that night. I can't do that.
It's a nope.
Come on, people. All right, that's the plan for this week. We'll be back on Wednesday with Alon, and then Sunday, Mike Silver's going to join us for a big old Just Your Opinion, man. And then down the line, Walter will be joining us for a good old simulcast of Just Your Pastime, man. Until then, thanks everybody in the chat. Ernie2, Rock a New Era, Pat H, The Skills Report, Otis Bird is the word, Ernie1, I saw Tacky in here for a bit of time. Walter Icabalseta, my guy Tim Webb, and I believe that is it. All right, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Steven, we'll see you on Sunday. Say what you always say.
Our future guest literally just said, I spoke to someone familiar with the Joey Bosa discussions. Looks like he could make 10 million, more than 10 million a year. So it's on with the 49ers and Dolphins.
Never mind then.
That's just his opinion, and that's just our opinion, man. Well, that's not his opinion. He's reporting on it. It's factual in his part.